e ci sono ancora e ancora circa, non dava la possibilità alle persone di ascoltare le risposte che lei ha dato a questa giornalista, ma che mai nessuno ha potuto ascoltare, se non quelli che erano dietro. E riprendendo quindi diversi punti che ci sono presi in questo comunicato dell'AIT, uno dei principali riguarda il fatto che il China Study è pieno di delle correlazioni apparenti, vale a dire che ci sono talmente tante correlazioni tra il cibo e la salute che si può dire tutto e anche il contrario di tutto, e che quindi niente di quello che dice è effettivamente dimostrabile.
People who say that don't understand correlations. We all know that correlations do not mean causation. Wait, I'm getting feedback. Okay. We all know that correlations do not mean causation. I wrote that carefully in the book. Yet the critics come along and say, I don't understand the difference in correlations and causation. Either they haven't read the book or they choose to tell stories. One or the other. I can't decide, what's going on in their head. As far as correlations are concerned, though, we have about 100,000 correlations. And the idea is not to focus on one correlation, but to look at them collectively. In which case, then we can use statistics to some extent to decide how valid is that conclusion. So correlations are useful in understanding a big picture. One has to have that frame of mind. And just to go and pick out one here or one there or something like that and give no consideration to the other evidence that was in the book, that's simply wrong. It's hard to react to, criticisms like that, or that are so obviously uninformed. It's sort of like the old expression we had in the United States, maybe here. Somebody asked me, when did I stop beating my wife? It's crazy. So, people can say really false things or make false assumptions that are really difficult to answer. They have to say, go back and read the book. That's why I like to say to people like that, I will debate them in person, on a stage, in front of any audience, anytime. And then then everybody can see, the question and the answer. There are some legitimate criticisms, maybe they're acceptable. I mean, there's some criticism maybe where people really are quite serious, that they're confused, they don't understand, and they demand an answer. So I have to give an answer. Because some correlations will show there's no relationship between A and B, or between animal protein and heart disease, or something like that. But what they don't understand about that, and this is a legitimate problem, one of the factors, there's two factors in a correlation. One of the factors may be all zeros, for example, or next to nothing. And the other one has a range of values. You can't make correlation with something like that. The book just computer-wise just generated all these correlations, so one has to look, at the actual evidence to see whether or not it's a legitimate correlation. So there's all kinds of, kind of analyses that should be done.
Esatto. Un'altra delle critiche, delle critiche che si punta a questa associazione sono quella di una blogger che so che lei ha già anche qui in realtà a cui già risposto, ma a quanto pare in Italia le risposte non si conoscono, di Denise Ming, che è quella che ha studiato per tanto tempo, per 3 mesi le Stadi, e ha posto alcune domande che vengono riprese da questa associazione, secondo il quale si dice che nel Stadi il meccanismo con cui la caseina induce il cancro nei tipi di laboratorio non è necessariamente valido anche per l'uomo, perché il passaggio dal topo all'uomo in realtà non è mai stato dimostrato.
First off, when she said, when she said there's no correlation between mice and humans, we never used mice to do the experiment. So I don't know what she's referring to. She's making stories up. And there's a big difference between mice and rats, for example, in terms of response in one regard. Also, as I explained in my lectures, it's difficult to use one mechanism to try to describe the whole. We have to use a cluster of mechanisms. And in one case, I know she said something about something involving one mechanism, ignoring all the rest, and the one mechanism was maybe misinterpreted. So she, incidentally, she never did research. She was not trained in this area. She has never published these results in a professional publication to which she can be held accountable. She's just saying things. And in this case, she's I think an English major. She was not even in science. But she was saying things that was very friendly with the industry, with whom that she seemed to have an association. Actually, the most important thing I can say, about 5 years later, 5 or 6 years later, she was on the internet and she actually apologized for some of the remarks that she was making. No one knows that.
Okay. Un'altra delle accuse mosse è che sempre da questa associazione italiana fa riferimento ad un esperimento del 1989. Ok. Un'altra delle accuse mosse fa riferimento a un esperimento del 1989 ottenuto da Schulsinger